Congratulations, Bill Randa. We finally know why you did what you did, and I will say, for you and Keiko, might have been worth it, but I can't say in the long run it was. What's up, YouTubers of the world? MegaGeekMixer here to give you guys my review on this week's episode of Monarch Legacy of Monster, episode 9. One episode remaining, guys. One episode remaining. And let me just say, with what the producer's saying, how it's gonna break the internet, just makes me wonder, what are they gonna do here? Because one thing I am hoping they don't do is do any more bringing someone back due to the whole Axis Mundi. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Bill and stuff, I do, and yeah, Lee Shaw's my favorite character. But in the grand scheme of things, we've already done this thing where we find out people are alive through Axis Mundi, just times gone by and stuff. But I just really feel Bill has to stay dead. Same with Hiroshi. As much as I know they want him to come back, especially Kentaro, I think it's just better that way. But now, having said that, I gotta break down the episodes. Let's start off first with the main star of this episode. But breakout star in this one was the guy who plays as Bill Randa, as we really get to see how the emotions he plays into how crazy and obsessive that Billy kept getting. And we saw it all throughout this season, but this episode kills it. This really got to show it to another level, and just showing you how broke, how damaged, and how flawed he was. Mind you, his heart was in the right place, and he was doing good, but for the long run of damaging his family, as he desperately never gave up on Kay, and believing she's alive out there, could put a real dent in the family that is really called a permanent damage. No offense to the guy. Amazing guy, just super flawed with what he did there. Yeah, in the end, he kept sending probes that he had Dr. Suzuki make, which I would prefer to call time capsules, considering he threw them into rifts, and those rifts ended up in Skull Island, which we find out that's what one of the things he was hoping to find in Skull Island. His time capsules, his probes. Unfortunately, as we know, he never was able to make it there due to what happened in Skull Island. But still, in the end, it made it to Keiko and Lee, who found it during their current mission in the present day. And yes, great acting by Keiko's actor, Mari Yamamoto. Yeah, Mari Yamamoto-san. You did amazing like always, but you already showed you are a stellar actor. Yeah, out of all these actors, I have to say the breakouts have been Wyatt and Kurt Russell, Mari Yamamoto, the guy who plays Tim, and the guy who plays Bill. I can't remember those two guys' real names, but still, they did amazing. But having all said that, though, we also got to get into the fact on how, yeah, like, with those time capsules and the portal, we now know that portal is the portal to be used to send Titan X home. Because as we saw through this episode and stuff, that Godzilla, yeah, he did fight her and stuff. But while some people on the internet were saying he was out of character, I knew he was in character. He was just doing his thing there. Yeah, Titan X was defending her baby. That's the only reason she's the one who attacked first, and Godzilla's defending himself. And yeah, the episode opens up with Godzilla still chasing her, but in the end, he left because she was finally back on her route. Because the only reason Godzilla came up there in the first place, some are going to say it's because of Lee's device. But here's the thing. Like I said in my last video, I'm pretty sure that even if Lee didn't use it, Godzilla was going to come up anyway because she was off her migratory route. And even though it wasn't in a populated area, it was off migratory route. And Godzilla's job is to make sure order is restored. And yeah, Titan X went back. And so Godzilla didn't need to bother anymore, so he left. And I loved how it made Lee see that, okay, I guess my plan didn't work. And yeah, since he trusts Godzilla and his judgment, he's like, well, let's get into a new plan, one that Keiko immediately agreed with and stuff here. And yeah, also during the time that Keiko and Lee were exploring and trying to find find Billy's rift and stuff, we got Keiko who was asking him about a strange thing Lee said, and the fact on how he's just remembered himself recently. In other words, he's loosely referencing when he talked to his younger self. It makes me wonder, will he tell Keiko about this? I hope so, because I would love to see the acting reaction to that one. That would be awesome right there. Oh yes, I almost forgot. About this wedding scene between Billy and Keiko. Yes, Billy and Keiko. So it turns out they actually just married in the spur of the moment, which in all honesty, that doesn't surprise me for a minute. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me for a minute on that one. And yeah, it was great to see all them confessing their love so much and stuff, because we all knew a subtle reason why she chose Billy, but now we got to hear it, and it's because he has crazy dreams just like her and stuff. So yeah, that can basically see why it made sense why she said to Lee, in another lifetime, in another world, it could have been about us, because they were just in different places back then and there, not just in terms of soldier and scientist. That was one of the reasons, make no mistake, but other reasons were where they were individually with what they wanted. So that explains it all right there. And it was great to see that. While Billy couldn't find the words then, he did find the words later, and they made their way to Keiko when they found the rift. But now, having said all that, though, let's go ahead and move on to other things here. First off, though, before we get into the main one here, I must say, I've been loving Tim and May's dynamics. They have just been incredible, as it's really showing that great mentor-student friendship right there, and camaraderie. Because let's not forget that Skull Island, while exploring it, you're always going to find yourself around a lot of predators, and we got ourselves another one that we saw back in the Apex headquarters when they were infiltrating it. But this time we got to see in its natural habitat, and it was just a reminder of that spider attack back in Skull Island. Oh, that was so much fun right there. And great stuff right there, as Tim was just not wanting to let May die. He just kept holding on and stuff. And yeah, luckily she slipped off her shoe, or else I think she would have been dead. Oh my God. Oh, and speaking of which, I almost forgot. I'm glad they showed that scene with Bill and Randa with their immediate reaction after they failed to save Kate when she fell down there in the 1960s, or was that 70s? I can't remember. All I just know is that those two, one's in denial and him believing that she was still alive ended up being true. But let's face it, in that situation right there, it was still actual natural denial while one's accepting reality. It was some touchy moments right there. But now, having said all that, though, let's go ahead. Let's get back into what we really need to talk about now, and that's the other main thing that's happened here with Isabel telling her plan. Her plan here was, oh yes, to use a rift to make a time machine and stuff. And you can just tell she doesn't just hate Edpex, she hates Titans, because she had no remorse for what she was doing, as she and her crew made an even better weapon to control Titan X, but instead of calming it, they're going to give it the aggression it needs, because they want Titan X to get Kong away so they can get this facility to be safe for them to be able to do what they need to do and making a time machine. And let me just say, with how they always kept cutting to Kate, trying to convince her brother, you got that shot there of always, there's Isabel cutting it off just to make sure Kentaro stays on her side there. Boy, that was great right there. It just makes you dislike this girl more and more. So she pulls her role as the antagonist very well here, especially since we never really had an antagonist until this season, much less late in the season. Well, not kind of late, but really, you know what I'm saying. But I've been enjoying her acting, and I just can't wait to see what are the results of her actions going to be here. There have been some people even speculating she might meet a similar fate to her sister. In other words, dying at the hands of Kong, which Maybe. You never know with this stuff. So we'll see on that end. But I gotta say, I love how we ended up finding out that while Kentaro looked like he was being used, he's not, well, in his way, he's not being used. He's basically just using these people to get what he wants, after which he's done. And what he wants is to save his dad. And I don't know if that means going back in time to stop him from going to Time X, or if that means going to find him when he was in Axis Mundi, which that's pretty much going in a similar route that Lee almost did with his younger self, but Lee backed away from it. But this is just showing how strong Lee is compared to some of the Randa family members here, because yeah, all of them compared to Lee, yeah, I'm not sure to say, maybe not, that they would have did that same thing too. Who knows? Who knows? That's a hard one to sell, but right now I can tell for Kentaro, it looks like he isn't going that route. So I gotta hope Cate really tries hard, because she's doing the one thing that the Randa family has failed to do, really. And that's really be there for the family when it really counts and stuff. Yeah, Hiroshi kind of did that, but kind of didn't. The real one who's really doing it, though, right now is Cate. Yeah, so we hoped for that right there. But all's the same, guys. Great episode, filled with a lot of heavy hearts of feelings there. Not enough to make me cry, but enough to make me understand why it was this way. But I am still glad with everything we got from like Godzilla not doing what haven't done what he needed to do, so he's off. And then there's Kong there, still protecting his island, but got distracted, but now he's on his way to get Tai next back. And then finally seeing more detail on what Isabel's trying to do, which is a time machine, and that's not going to be a good idea. But I still can't wait to see where it's going here. But that's going to be all for today, guys, and let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon to be notified when I make more videos. Until then, MegaGeekMixer signing out. Bye!